And I'm proud to say as Cebuano, dinhi nagsugod tanan.
Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle.
You are tuning in to the RAFI Heart to Heart podcast, your space to catch inspiring real life stories of doing good told straight from the heart. My name is Liz, and welcome to our episode. If you have not yet subscribed and followed the podcast, please do so. Please follow our socials so that you are updated with our monthly content. And happy Heritage Month. Today we celebrate Heritage Month, actually the entire month. For today's episode, we delve into the significance of our history, our roots, and celebrating pride of place. Join us as we explore how to understand our past and explore this further and help us identify our identity as Filipinos, Cebuanos better. And more importantly, we are able to cultivate a sense of pride of place, our pride in our roots, and our pride in our communities. In honor of National Heritage Month, every May, we are taking time to celebrate diversity, beauty, and the richness of our culture and heritage. This is an opportunity for us to rekindle our connection with our roots and rediscover our unique and wonderful history. There's a lot to talk about. History is always so beautiful in the Philippines, and particularly here in Cebu, we are very rich, in the history that Cebu has to offer. And more than anything, we're very blessed and excited to have special guests with us here today in the RAFI Heart to Heart podcast. So, allow me to introduce our special guest. I have a colleague here from RAFI with me. We have Jeremy from the Kabilin Center. Hi, Jeremy.
Hello. Hello to all our listeners out there.
We're very happy to have you here, Jeremy. And we have a very special guest. If you are a frequent visitor to the Fort San Pedro, you might have seen this very handsome face. With us today, we have our Executive Director of the Fort San Pedro. We have Sir Albert Vestil. Hi, sir.
Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone.
We're very happy to have you here. Very excited to learn more about the Fort San Pedro and the things that you can share about the fort. The fort has a lot of meaning. Holds a lot of meaning to every Cebuano. So we're very excited to learn more about the fort and your personal stories as well from the fort.
There's a lot.
We're very excited to hear about the fort. In Philippine history, we have a lot of stories about triumphs, about struggles, and stories about resilience. Localizing these conversations, particularly here in Cebu, we have been hosts to a lot of historical events here in the Philippines. History defines us. History has always been holds a very important place to us, particularly us for Cebuanos. And today we'll discover more about our history and the role that Cebu played in history. And Cebu has a very iconic place in Cebuano history. There's just a fort. If you have been a student in high school or in elementary, at one point you may have visited the Fort San Pedro. I have a lot of memories of the Fort San Pedro, visiting the place. And we also usually bring a lot of friends and guests to the fort because, again, it's a very iconic place in Cebu. And of course, we also bring them to the Plaza Independencia. So these two sites hold a lot of memories for us, and they hold a very special place in the history of Cebu. So Sir Albert, this brings me to my very first question. What is the fort? Can you tell us more about Fort San Pedro?
Fort San Pedro is a fortress.
Mm-hmm.
It is a place during the Spanish time. It is the protection of the island. And as we all know that when the Spaniards came, first it was Magellan, and then 44 years later, then came Miguel Lopez de Legazpi, the one who ordered to build Fort San Pedro for the locals, for the natives. it was first being a protection for the natives against the Moro raiders at the time, because when they arrived here, uh, they don't have any against with the locals. It's for the Moro raiders. And so later on, when the Fort San Pedro was completed, the one you see, the one you visited today in 1700, it has a turn of event. Then there was a revolt against the Spaniards, and then it serves as a camp for the Spaniards, and then until in 1898 when the Spanish Philippine War ended, and then in 1890 it turned into a garrison for the American forces. So there's a lot of things that going on. Turn of events until in the 1900, until worst, it was a garrison for the American and then garrison for the Japanese time during the Second World War. And then the war ended in 1945. So sadly that the fort was damaged, actually. Not totally damaged, but partly. Yeah, and then it serves as a different LGU office here in Cebu. And one of them was the Philippine Army. And then in the 60s it was turned into a zoo. That was
Ana zoo de siya?
Nahimo siyang zoo. And then of course, no, ano lang pangutanan ka na sa kanang tao. Naabtan pa na nako ang zoo. I was a kid. Unya kay there was a program sa akong dad sa luyo sa Fort San Pedro na anay stage diha. So for us nga not to disturb our dad's work, dadon mi sa among mami diha sa zoo sa sud. So it was really, no, of course, gagmay nga bata, ma-amaze mangyug ka, like kakita kag mga mananap dihang nagklase-klase lang, especially sa mga unggoy, no? Makuan magyud ta. So after that, nawala ang zoo mga early 70s. And then, so sad. It was just a piece of stone. Everybody will come and go, do what they like to do, whatever it is. So sad. Piece of stone. Wala lang. Gikuan lang. Tambayan and everything. Ang plaza kaniadto, dili na siya parehas karon. It was totally different. And then, nalimpyo siya pagka 80s. No, na sugdan siya glimpyo, gitagad, gihatagag mayog atensyon.
Nakasuri ko pag 80s dito, sir.
Yeah, it was totally
80s, 90s,
different. Oo.
Napay roller skate na ring dito.
Naa sa tunga sa plaza. Naka skates pa ko
Yes.
diha sa plaza. Na panay dakong lugar diha. Because actually ako kanang tubo Cebu gyud ko. Although I'm from Mandaue, and then diha ko nagdako sa Mandaue, and then tag high school ko sa Abiliana. And then, during the time, napay mga ganggang kaniadto. So I was part of it. Sa dinaganay lang. Sa dinaganay. Dili sa kuan. But, nagkanam og kanindot ang fort, gihatagad pagtagad, gihatagan og saysay, gihatagan og dakong kahulugan, no? O nahimo na siyang karon nga gi-enjoy na natong tanan,
Yeah.
no? Kana ang musuroy ka nga makahanggap kag presko nga hangin. It's totally different. Kung unsa ka ngit-ngit kagahapon ang Fort San Pedro, mausad siya kahayag karon. Nahinaot ko nga padayunon, no, ninyong mga kabatanunan. Well, I say bata pa ko in heart, but
Bata pa ka, sir.
sa age not totally the same as you, no. Pero ang ako din ha is nga mapadayon ba nilag hangop ang Fort San Pedro, dili lang susama ni adto nga makabuhat lang sila sa ilang gusto, no?
Yeah.
Nga mag-vandalism, nga igsud nila dito, inigawas nila, magbilin sa ilahang kanang basura, inana, so sad. But karon hinaoto na to nga gunitan na to o hangupon na to ang Fort San Pedro, because for me, it is our last frontier nga gihatag sa kagahapon sa tuwa. Kaya mawala ganin ang Fort San Pedro, I mean, I hope not. No?
Yeah.
I hope not.
See, Fort San Pedro, correct me if I'm wrong, sir, is the oldest smallest fort in the
oldest
Philippines.
and the smallest tri-bastion fort in the Philippines. And I'm proud to say as Cebuano, dinhi nagsugod tanan.
Unsa
Sa Cebu.
pasabot anang dinhi nagsugod tanan, sir?
Kay pag-abot ni Magellan, dinhi sa Cebu. Pag Christianization, dinhi sa Cebu. Pagsabuag sa mga Kristiyano sa ilang pagproteksyon, dinhi sa Cebu. Pagtukod sa Fort San Pedro, dinhi sa Cebu ang una. Okay? So, tempo sa panahon sa revolusyon, doon na say ang kitang Cebuano sa atong rich nga history. No? Being a Cebuano, daghan kay tag dapat hangupon, daghan kaayo tang dapat nga mahibaw-an. Unya, sa ato lang, not only sa Cebu City, but the entire Cebu province, ang istorya daghan kaayo. Unya, sa Fort San Pedro, dili lang kay ang mga foreign nga mga turista nga muhangop diha ug ma-amaze sila makakita sila nga nindot gyud ay dili lang kay sila lang naasay ato ang gikan sa
Local.
Luzon, mga local nana ba. So ang ato dinhi nga kita dinhi sa Cebu, ako mismo makaingon jud ko nga proud ko na ako dinha. I am part of a living history sa fort. Kay para nako makasulti jud ko dinhi nagsugod ang tanan.
Kanahan kay ko ana pag-ingon nimo, sir, na dinhi jud nagsugod ang tanan. No?
Oh.
And I think dapat more people no learn to appreciate and
Yeah, that's correct.
ang kanang phrase na pride of place, na we should be proud na that we have
Correct.
these kinds of stories and history, rich history available for us immediately. Norabud dito sa unahan ang Fort
Yes.
San Pedro
When in
for
fact-
all of us to enjoy.
When you go to Fort San Pedro, dili pud sakit sa dughan nga musulod ka, nga mahibaw ka sa istorya, makakita ka for 30 pesos. Dili sakit sa dughan. In fact, ako labi ako na ay mangutanan ako. Bisan mga estudyante di ginan ako balibaran. No? Kay para nako proud sad ko nga makaistorya, mahibaw sila, dili lang kay kanang inigsud nila ni bayad sila 30 pesos for nothing. No, I don't agree with it nga mao na. Kinahanglan dapat duna sila makuha nganong bato ang gigamit, nganong kahoy ni, inana ba? So, nganong naay tulo ka bastion nga naadinha, nganong Fort San Pedro ang pangan.
Ngano Fort San Pedro ang pangalan,
Mao
sir?
na gisakyan ni Miguel Lopez de Legazpi. Mao na iyang mothership. Ang tulo ka bastion with namely La Concepcion, San Miguel, and Ignacio de Loyola are the three ships nga kuyog nilang Miguel Lopez de Legazpi. Pag abot nila. So manil ang gamit. So ang mga Kastila lahi sad sila og ilahang style, lahi sad sila ilang kaugalingong gawi, no? Ang ila is nganlan nila kay because ila na nga nagpamatuod nga ilahanang sila ang naghimo, sila ang nagmugna. Ilangan kay lisod pang kaayo nga nilanding si Magellan nagbutang og cross nya nganlan nimog Albert's Cross. So inana na sila, magngan gid na sila kay pahinungod na nila sa ilang pagkasila nga timailhan nga sila na. So mo nang duna na sila nga ingon ana na ang nganong mo na ngan kay tungod sa nasulat naana na dinha mao na iyahang og sakuan pa mao na iyang medal. Naana gina siya dinha.
Amazing ka, ayo. Ikaw, Jeremy, naka-visit ka sa fort before ka nag-join sa RAFI.
Yes, I have. I was still, because since I was from Bohol, my first introduction to Fort San Pedro was as a college student na.
Kanang school tour.
Not even, just our own initiative lang. Kay me and my family, like, let's go inside na here. Kay we always wanted to know, but I think I gained a more intimate knowledge of Fort San Pedro when I went there with Sir Albert as not just, I think, my host, the tour guide as well, when we were videoing for Gabi sa Kabilin.
For the shoot sa Gabi sa Kabilin. And we'll talk more about Gabi sa Kabilin because that's a very important event that is just upcoming in this in time for Heritage Month. I'll just go back very quickly to Sir Albert. we always talk about we talk about fort, no, and how, and it's such a very important icon, no, and part of our history here in Cebu. I'm very curious to know, sir, no, unsay like para nimo, or as a you being the executive director of the Fort San Pedro and having journeyed, no, throughout time with the fort. Unsay sa tanaw nimo, sir, unsay significance like of the fort to us, no, as Cebuanos?
Naghatag siya og para nako simbolo sa kaligon, no? Kay bisan tuod nga sa daghang panahon nga nang labay nga mga dili lang kay trahedya, dili lang kay apil na ang gubat, no, og ang mga kalamidad, no, pero nagpadayon gid gihapon siya barog, although napasagdan inana ba, so nagpabilin siyang nagpakita, nga nagpabilin siyang naghatag og istorya mo nang para nako, mo nang ang para nako naghatag gid siya og kalig-on natong mga Cebuano nga tanawa imo siyang makita, no, nga kita nga mga Cebuano, although bisan sa ato ang nangagi nagpadayon gid gihapon tang isog, di ta magpalupig, no, mubangon gid ta, no, pila ka trahedya, pila ka kagubot nga nang labay, nagbarog gid ta gihapon. Kay it's because para nako pag ang presensya sa fort naghatag og kalig-on kausa, no, nya ang panag-usa nato. So mao ginay para nako lang, no, I mean that's every time nga mo tour ko, no, it's para nako, it gives me pride nga na ako din nya naa pa gyud ang fort, no, kay as I said, living history ko nga nakita nako, unya ako ning pirmi gisulti sa akong mga anak nga kaniadto mangutana sila, nya ako nagsulti nila because ang mulabay nga panahon mahinumduman lang na nato kung naa na sa atong kasing-kasing, naa na sa atong huna-una, pero di gani mapapas gid na, pero wa gid mapapas ang fort.
Yes, si fort kay through the many years na nagpadayon, nakakita gid siya, no, the different phases. It went through different, it saw so many things, no, all throughout the
Yes.
years. And it remained resilient. And nagpadayon gid siya pabarog, no, pagbarog, no, and it has always been around. And it journeyed through different phases of history, stories. And I think, which now brings me to this whole conversation of us experiencing history and appreciating history and the different phases of these structures and places have experienced for us to experience as well. And I think more than anything, preserving our culture and understanding and appreciating our
Right,
culture
correct.
is very important. So for us, one, to understand where we came from, understanding our past, but also for us to build a connection and also move forward and bring these stories with us. And naaragin ni sila na places around. We have so many museums. We have so many iconic stories to tell. We have so many historical places to be proud of. And I think more than anything, maybe at this point, it's really asking, so how do I get to these places? How do I experience and immerse myself into these stories? While I know that there's so many opportunities for us to visit museums, at this point, RAFI, the Ramon Abaitis Foundation, in partnership with the local government units of Talisay City, Lapu-Lapu City, Cebu City Government, and all of our different partners, we organize every year Gabi sa Kabilin. It's a very beautiful experience of immersing ourselves at night with different museums and heritage sites, and for us to kind of experience history in a very, very unique way. And Gabi sa Kabilin is an annual event na celebrated in May in time for Heritage Month. So timing kayo for this month no kay Heritage Month. So I'd like to pass this on to Jeremy and learn more about Gabi sa Kabilin. Si Jeremy is super new, fresh in Gabi sa Kabilin, but he was one of our interns. And he now helps promote and raise awareness around Gabi sa Kabilin. So Jer, unsa man jud si Gabi sa Kabilin?
How long do you have? Because sa Kabilin is that annual heritage event where it gives a unique experience with museums because some of these or most of these museums are closed at night. So from the word itself, no, Gabi sa Kabilin, you get to visit all, or in this case for this year, all 22 of our partner museums at night with the price of with just one ticket lang. So this is where an opportunity for people to enhance their idea of visiting museums as cultural avenue of cultural understanding, as well as this is their moment to visit the museum and get to learn about, as what Sir said, no, we get to learn about Cebu, its history, and how we made our mark through that history.
And it's nice no kay it's an evening affair. So exciting kay siya niya. Dangan kay mga pakulo and activities with the different museums. So what time does it start, gani?
It will start from 6 p.m. to 12 midnight, but some museums can open as early as 4 to 5.
Wow, that's great no kay. So even before 6 p.m. at night, you can actually already experience.
And there'll be like outside exhibits, food bazaars, and other cultural performances that you get to enjoy that you won't see usually on the normal days of a museum.
Gabi sa Kabilin has been around for 17 years, am I right?
Yeah, it was initiated in 2007 by, of course, the Ramon Aboitiz Foundation. And from what I read, no, it started out lang with just 5 partner museums lang. It was just a walking tour.
Yeah.
And so look how far we've come, no?
And the Fort was one of our founding members who started Gabi sa Kabilin. And now we're, 22 sites. So every year, it's just really like, it's a, one thing, no, it's a lot of people look forward to Gabi sa Kabilin. No? Though even though if it's an annual event, every year there's always something new for people to discover, and it's always fun to experience. No, just walking around downtown or going to Talisay City, to Mactan, and then experiencing the different activities there. There's always something new to learn about Cebu and our history. Mr. Enny, can you tell us more about the theme this year?
So for the theme, no, speaking of pride of place, today's the theme for GSK 2023 is Pagpanag-iya, or owning your story. So this the theme for this year centers around how colonialism, as we usually think of it as something that's controlling or corrosive, we will look at it from a different point of view or reframe it onto how we as Filipinos adapted to colonialism and made it our own, or owning our story. So this is where we can see that pride of place manifest itself through how we cultivated our identity despite being colonized by foreign powers that be.
Right. And this year is also our 125th year, right?
It commemorates the 125th anniversary for our Independence Day.
That's actually very timely and a very timely celebration. This is your first GSK with us?
Actually, I wanted my first GSK to be with my friends during 2020. They invited me, and then of course it was 2020. You could imagine the disappointment. But I did attend, but it was still online pa. So this will be my first face to face.
So this will be your first GSK experience.
In terms of face to face, yeah.
Now you also have to work on that.
Sige lang, we'll find a way lang. We'll own the story, Jo.
Yeah, you own your story. But there will be a lot of activities downtown where we'll be. Ikaw, Sir Albert, what can people expect from you and the Fort during Gabi sa Kabilin?
Actually, ang Fort San Pedro karon presently, no, ang ato ang gallery walay sulod. Kay anytime soon, i-restore na pod siya. Kay giguba ni Odette.
Yeah, you were affected by Odette.
And then, that's why nga, timely kaayo kay na ako yung mga OJTs from Naval University. ako asad silang gihatagan og istorya about fort, so sila'y mo welcome sa mga guests nato nga gustong mahibaw. So sa pagkakaroon is ang ato is the story behind, but ang ato ang program karon sa gabi is kabilin is naalantay presentation, natay sayaw, doon ako'y mga katipuneros nga mga La Liga, they call themselves as La Liga. Kay tungod lagi ang ato ang tema karon nga paghandom sa kagahapon, no? Angkon akong giingnan sila nga they will wear authentic Spanish uniform nga kanang sundalo kaniadto. So magsuroy-suroy na sila. Kay just like kaniadto nga ila pa ang Fort San Pedro sa mga katsila. Nagsuroy-suroy sila, nagwardya sila. So sa pagkakaroon, kay magabiis kabilin ta, ilang gwardyahan ang mga tao og hatagan nila og saysay. Ang kagahapon nga ato aron nga ipakita sa mga tao. And aside from that, doon na tay video presentation. Of course, the Cebu City government na mag-present sad sa ilang video presentation kay timely sad ni kaayo ka programa ni Mayor Mike sa iyahang Singapore like Cebu City. And then as I remember when I was in Singapore, sila pod rich pod kaayo ang ilang kuan. Unya ang sa Singapore is ila jud gi-manage o preserve ang ilahang unsay naa nila. And that is also one of Mayor Mike's plan, dreams, nga ma-preserve ang ato ang kagahapon. Naa siya, daghan siya og damgo nga gusto gid niyang buhaton. In fact, nasugda na karon na iyahang buhion ang mga lugar nga nakahatag og saysay sa Cebu City. So timely kaayo. And I hope nga sa sunod GSK na to, sunod tuig, daghan na mong makitaan sa Fort San Pedro sa sulod mismo. Nga dili na mo angay sultian og unsa ni kay ipakita na gyud na mo nga nanana na siya istorya kining nga exhibit nganong naa ni siya mabasa na dayon. So hinaot lang nga mahumanan ni dayon kay para mabutangan na nato. So sa karon sa atong gabi is kabilin, doon na tayo ipakita. Di lang nako isulti kay para makuan gid sila ba. Oo, ma-surprise
So dapat
sila.
mo ato jud no kay kita mga listeners.
Yes, mo invite jud ko og maayo nga suri gid mo, hango pa gid ninyo kay dili lang ang Fort San Pedro ang nindot, ang tibuok Cebu as well.
Yes, tibok Cebu gyud. And I think important jud na ato gyud na dapat ma-immerse gyud ta and ma-feel gyud nato na kanang like we take pride no again of what we have and be able to like immerse ourselves and continue telling these stories na to a larger audience. And I think ako ang sige man gyud tag-ingon no na kana dapat we have to immerse, dapat we have to be proud of our history. And sige sa ta makadungog ani no na phrase no pride of place.
Yeah.
It's a very common catchphrase right now that we hear often. Pero akong question, Sir Albert, is why do you think na it's important for us to have pride of place, or why do you think it's important na dapat connected yun ko sa ako ang kagahapon, sa ako ang roots?
Ang kita man good like ako bisan tuod nagdako ko sa Mandawi, no? Nakitaan man good nako, nasumpay man good nako. I also have a lot of stories about Mandawi City kay dito ko nagdako. But dinhi sa Cebu City, lahi siya, no? So mauna nga ako sa akong part nahibaw naman ko, nadawat naman ako nga kauban nako, parte nako sa maong kuan istorya. Ako sad ning ihatag sa uban. I-share sad ni nako sa uban nga ika pa kita og sigarbo, no? Nga na nganong nagpadayon tang ingon ani kay it's because we have our rich culture nga ang atuang mga ginikanan, naghatag og disiplina, no, nga nakuha nato sa mga katsila, no, dili na nato ikalimod natong tanan nga ang ato ang mga how should I say it, character, the way unsa ta, ang atong pagsimba, ang atong pagtahod, ang ato ang pagtamod sa uban, gikan biya nas katsila. Nya gikuha gyapon nato. Nya it's so sad to say the reality nga nagkahinay-hinay na siya ka wala baya. So ato ni kining gabi sa kabilin is part of that. Nga awareness ipakita nga naaday na because lots of kids today they don't know it. Sad to say.
Sir, if kana siya, ako ganahan ako na i-catch no kana mong gingon na in the process na medyo nakalimtan na or we lose sight of these stories or the history that actually shaped us no and our practices. So unsaon na to? How do we sa tanong nimo sir, how do I make sure na I stay connected to my roots and I also continue celebrating and continue telling these stories so that dili siya mawala?
That is why kung asa like no ako kanang mga bata no manood diha kinahanglan masultian mahibaw-an and then awareness man gud ni siya no kay sometimes kids going there kung makakita lang mo inadlaw ba no kids going there just suri ana and then ang uban ang uban nagpractice og sayaw no ang ato karon nga kita nga naata dinhi kining atong gihimo sa gabi sa kabilin is really an awareness to everybody nga naaday ni sila nga dili lang kayo nga makita nato sa social media, makita nato sa internet, mabasa na right in front at naara sa inyong backyard. So this is important nga for us nga kita makahatag.
Yeah.
No? Dili nato itago, dili nato idaw. Ato gini siyang ihatag.
Yeah.
This is very timely para nako. So here we are nga go lang. Ato ning ihatag nila so that the kids of today will know.
Well, I think important kay ang work sa not especially karon no sa Kabilin Center and the RAFI Cultural Heritage Unit and si imo ikaw personally Jeremy imong work no you continue telling these stories. I know that you've produced a lot of videos right now for our different sites. Kumusta ikaw imong experience about telling these stories?
So far, I think what's most fun, because my goal when I was thinking about creating these videos was putting a face on the museums that we always visit, no? To as I pitched it, no, your friendly neighborhood curator. Because if we think of it as Cebu is our province, our community, then these places are the not only, I don't like to call it the antiques, but these are the reflections of what we had in the past. So this is the best way to understand what we had before, and I think my friends would best call it understanding your past to gain a better understanding of your future.
Yeah, that's actually excellent. Like understanding your past to get a better understanding of your future and your now. Like because again, like kung sa gingon ni Sir Albert na it really shapes our past, really shapes who we are right now. And thank you kaayo Jeremy for creating all of these very beautiful stories. And thank you to our partners or all of our partners who helped us.
I think since the theme changes every year, we get to look at history from a different perspective.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's
so
a very
it's like
good
that
point.
different framing na jud nga you can always see it that the history again will look it. I think we uncover something else different na.
And I think that's the beauty about history, like if you keep on looking at it in different lenses, there's always something new that you can discover.
Yeah, ako like me nagsugod ko sa Cebu City Government in 2014. So nakasugod din ko sa gabi is kabilin. Nabutang din ako ba? Ninduta eh. And then 2015, then 16, then nawala ko. Nabalik ko pag 2019, but na COVID the following year. And yeah, it was so sad. So although naagihapon me, then last year was really para nako nga to murag pinakakusog gyud to ba. Kay I was down for 1 week. Nasakit ko. Para nako, wala gito nako. Wa ko magmahay, wa ko magbasol, wa ko tanan, no? Kay gihatag, nakita gyud ba? Sa kadaghan sa mga tao, didn't expect it that much.
Daghan bito kay tao last year sa gabi sa Kabilin.
I was standing for 7 hours that day. Motoy nakaluyan ako. Pero wala na. Ang totoo nga, niabot na gyud ang oras nga ni bati ni jud kog kakapoy. Pero naagyad gihapon. No? Na murag na buhi akong dugo atong gabi una sa kataghan. And I experienced that first time that last year nga sa kadaghan sa tao, murag lupigon ang kadaghanon sa tao pag sinulog.
9,000 gud to ka. I think if I'm not mistaken, around 8,000 nakatao last year. So nagpanikad sa mga tao na mo experience sa gabi sa Kabilin again, no. But yeah, I think kami, no, ako personally excited. It's something that I personally look forward to, gabi sa Kabilin, because again, there's always something new for me to discover about Cebuano history, our heritage, our culture. And I'll pick up with what Jeremy said na understanding our past helps us understand and appreciate our present and our future better. And it helps us gain a deeper appreciation of our culture and also our traditions and our customs. And our country's history, it's also a lot, no, intertwined with economy, our country's politics, economy, our society, and there should always be that continued hunger towards history and our continued hunger towards discovering more about our heritage and our different traditions and customs. By understanding these contexts of our past, we comprehend the present more and make more informed decisions and again appreciate ourselves and our history better. By learning our history, we gain a deeper appreciation of the different cultures that we have all throughout time. And more than anything, we are very excited for Gabi sa Kabilin and the fort. We're very excited to experience whatever you have, whatever secrets you're planning, and for the fort. And we hope that people share that excitement with us. I think we can go on and on. I think there's so many things to talk about Cebuano history and pride of place and celebrating our different customs and traditions. But before we end, we'd love to hear more about what are your particular takeaways from today's conversations. Ikaw, Sir Albert, like unsa man imong best takeaway from today's conversation?
Paghangop, no? Kay para nako hangupon gyud nato. Dili lang kay ang karon, ang importante o paghangop nato sa kagahapon kay para masabta na nato ang ugma. Just like what Jose Rizal said. No? Taong hindi marunong lumingon sa kanyang pinanggalingan ay hindi makakarating sa kanyang parot. Sakto gyud para gyud nakuha jud kay na sa tanan. No? Kay di man ta ka sulti or move forward if we don't know sa atong unsay past. Kay magngangalang yata mag-ana ngano day, no na may ibang kasagaran ana kay mga batan-on karon ug imong pangutan-on kinsa si Magellan nganong nga no? Kay because they had this gadget in their hands nga di nila hapit kuan mo na karon para nako hangupon gid ni nato nga higayon kay not only once a year but at least every year, but the story behind naa every day. So mao na siya ang ako
But also know how sad it is if you're not able to tell the story of your history and your traditions if dili ka able not to tell these things. So stay hungry. Dapat we have to understand and learn more about our heritage and customs and culture. Ikaw, Jeremy, how could you invite everyone to join Gabi sa Kabilin? How can they get tickets? And invite everyone to join GSK.
So for everyone there nga on the fence pa about buying a gabi sa kabilin ticket, I think this is a very prime opportunity for you to better understand the history of Cebu, not only just through one museum such as Fort San Pedro, but by visiting all these participating museums that we have, no 22 kabuk. So you can purchase any of these tickets in any of our 22 partner museums, and you can follow our official Facebook page to gain better understanding. If you want general inquiries, I will be the one answering for on the chat. So at least when you do call, you will see the your friendly neighborhood social media officer, diba? So narami diha, and will always be there to answer your questions, because the appreciation of history and our culture shouldn't be just a one-night event, but a practice whole year round.
That's an excellent point. And yeah, again, no, it's experience culture, heritage, not just at Gabi sa Kabilin, but all year round. Stay hungry. Learn more about our history. But first, join Gabi sa Kabilin, get that ticket, and experience the different sites, the 22 sites, and also our outdoor exhibits. So we have special outdoor exhibits prepared. So exciting sad kayo na siya.
And if you're feeling competitive, no, we also have 4 contests for you to join, and there's cash prizes on the line, guys.
What are your contests, Palam? So maybe you can tell us more about your
In
contests.
total, there are 5 contests now. One is for Kids Corner. So there's a limit for that lang ha, sa mga ticket holder.
Pwede po ka ng kids corner?
At heart lang siya, sir. Kids at heart. Pwede pa dun.
Pwede.
So this so parents can actually bring their kids, and then the kids can experience.
Because for children, no, their ticket, if you're 7 years old and below, it's free as long as you have one adult GSK ticket holder. But if you're a student, PWD, or senior, you can get a 20 peso discount.
Oh, okay. That's
Pero in
great.
terms of these contests, we have sorry, just no, we're gonna have to go back to using our gadgets na to promote this awareness
bitaw.
of the
Sige
museums na. So we're using that tool na to in favor na.
Yeah. Naman gid na.
Oo.
Di naman na nato mawagtang.
So we're using that for good this time. Kaya we have the first is phonography, which is they will use their phone and take a picture lang of what best symbolizes the theme for this year. No, pag panag-iya, owning your story. We have vlogging and photo story that also continues to tell this, to reflect around the theme, but how would you express it? Yeah. How would you show it through a picture or through a video? And how would you type it or caption it? So how do you capture that idea? And the last one will be the heritage hunt. No, for those mga active, mga physically and mentally prepared. No, they can really. It's like the Amazing Race, but
with a history,
with a twist of history on it. No, Cebuanos history pa jud. So I think that's it. No?
that's exciting. I think that's something that everyone should look forward to. And I'll go back to the kids corner. So you can start your kids young and start making them hungry towards history and learning, appreciating more about their heritage. And Cebuanong heritage, no, by making them participate in Gabi sa Kabilin and joining the kids corner. So mga parents who are listening, you should consider bringing your kids to Gabi sa Kabilin and let them experience GSK through our kids corner. Yeah, I think there's so many things to talk about and so many things to experience for GSK. We're a little bit tight on time, but we'd like to wrap things up. Before we close, if you are a Heart to Heart super fan and have you been listening to the Heart to Heart podcast for quite some time, we have a tradition in the podcast where we share our heartfelt word for the day. So this is your word that that struck you. But it's words. So this is a word or words that really struck you and give meaning, no, from our conversation today. And it goes by completing this phrase. Hi, my name is Liz. And my heartfelt word for the day is hunger. So, ikaw, Sir Albert, what's your, if you can complete this statement and your heartfelt
I'm
word.
Albert, paghangop sa kagahapon. Paghangop. Kay, as I said, muna, para makuha nimo. Kay, parehas nga, muhangop tag usa ka tao, imo ginang ibutang sa kasing-kasing.
Thank you, Sir Albert. Ikaw, Jeremy.
Hi, I'm Jeremy, and my heartfelt word of the day is ownership.
I love that. Ownership. Thank you so much, Sir Albert and Jeremy, for this wonderful conversation. I think we can again talk more about our Cebuanong history, and owning our story. But we might be a little bit pressed for time. But I think more than anything, we'd really like to thank you for sharing so much of yourself
pleasure.
and your time and telling more about Fort San Pedro. We're very excited. And we're very excited for Gabi sa Kabilin. Once again, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
And it has been wonderful to hear your heartfelt stories for today. Again, if you haven't subscribed and followed the podcast, and if you want to hear more heartfelt stories, please get in touch with us and connect with us through our social media pages. Look for the Ramon Aboitiz Foundation on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, and stay connected with us. Let us know if you want to hear other real life heartfelt stories of doing good, and we'd love to hear more from you. Again, stay tuned for our next episode as we bring you more inspiring real life stories of doing good told straight from the heart. My name is Liz, and this has been the RAFI Heart to Heart podcast. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you.
you.
Bye.